I wanted to try something new and turn my characters into hanging, light-up masks. Sculpey has been getting expensive, so I'm trying to steer away from it and experiment with new mediums. While I'm not thrilled with how this came out, I'm still new to paper mache and I learned a lot through the process. I put down a tinfoil base on a piece of wood and temporarily attached these fairy lights with some tape. I figured out how many lights I need for each face and made my way down, attaching them to each one. And then I used hot glue and clear marbles to attach eyeballs and mouths to all of the lights. I secure them all into place with some more hot glue and move on to making the paper mache. It's pretty much just a 1-to-1 mix with the flour to water, but I also like to add some acrylic paint into mine. And then I just kind of go to town with some strips of paper and make sure the whole thing is fully covered. You want around 3 coats. I like to dry mine in between with my hairdryer so that it just makes moving it around easier and the whole process go quicker. This is when I started to realize that I wasn't exactly thrilled with how these faces were coming out. And if I could go back, I probably would have chosen to do less faces so I could spend more time making sure the details were on point. To help with these details, I went in with some Sculpey and added teeth and outlined the eyes and some of the noses. I peeled them back off and popped them in the oven at 275 for about 12 minutes. And glued all that back down with some E6000 glue. To make it extra secure, I went in with some paper mache after this and covered up all of the seams. All of this added a lot of time to the whole process, but I'm glad I did it because it's pretty hard to get a lot of detail with the paper mache, and until I get better with it, I'm still more comfortable with the Sculpey. One thing I do recommend is washing your hands regularly while paper macheing because it dries and cakes up so quickly and it's so annoying to get off. Now, I went through a whole process painting this because it started off really bright and colorful, and then I decided that I would tone it down to be more like a skin tone, and then it got like super skin tone colored, and I lost a lot of the blues and greens that I originally had. So in the end, you see me going back over with a wash of those colors to bring it back out. I also did not film myself putting a glaze over the whole thing. But after painting and glazing, I go back in and clean up all of the eyes, make sure there's no glue or paint in any of them, and then it is on to making the hair. Luckily, this 1-ball yarn had all the colors I would need, so I just cut it into the right lengths, and then I poked holes all over the head so that the yarn had somewhere to stick into. And then I spent an ungodly amount of time just gluing down every single piece of yarn. For a while, I used this skewer thing to make sure that they were all nice and attached in the holes, but after a while, I just started using a bit more glue and making sure they were really all on there. Any loose pieces came off during this process where I untangled all of the yarn, and that process took a very long time. But afterwards, I just had to trim up the hair and touch up some spots of paint before moving on to attaching some wood in the back so it would hang well. And then came the hardware and hanging it up in the hallway. I look forward to taking what I learned here and making some more really cool paper mache projects in the future. Let me know what you think.